Ryan Cherki is a Man City player. In this video, we're going to break down the details of the transfer, if it's a good deal for the club, and of course, how this new look Man City will appear with Cherki, maybe on the wing, maybe behind Erling Haaland. Lots to discuss. It's a juicy transfer. Let's be completely real. Cherki is one of the most naturally gifted footballers in European football. He's breaking into a France side at a tender age of 21 when you got Buvey on one side, Dembele on the other, Mbappe down the middle, and Olise, who's maybe the best player in German football, all in this kind of front four ahead of the midfield for France. And I know he came off the bench against Spain, started the following game, so he's just broken into this kind of elite France side that should be looking to win the World Cup, and I think he'll be a big part of it. So Man City are signing a talent that has just broken into that level, that calibre of player. Again, Buvey, Mbappe, etc. Not saying he's there yet, but he's already played 170 plus games for Lyon, one of the biggest clubs in France. You look at some of the goals that he scores, instinctive finisher, and you break down his numbers, a lot of them on his left, a lot of them on his right, 50-50 split, roughly speaking, in terms of goals on his left and right foot. So many assists, and you see the way he links up play. He can pinpoint a pass through the lines at any kind of angle. Brilliant crosser of the ball, great at carrying the ball. It's an outrageous deal. Now, obviously, any player that comes into the Premier League, French League, Spanish League, Portuguese, wherever, there's always a bit of a gamble. You're never quite sure how they're going to fit in, particularly the work rate as well. But leave your comments down below what you think about this transfer. 12 goals, 20 assists in the last 44 games for Lyon. So he's really hitting those heights, because the years before that, a little bit less. He's properly popping off. 29 goals and 45 assists in 170 plus games for Lyon as well. So he's a young but very experienced player. He's playing probably at a level where he's probably closer to 25, 26 in terms of appearances. So it's absolutely outrageous. Again, I've talked about the creativity, but he's got this kind of arrogance about him. He's got this kind of ability to run a game from any position on the football pitch. There will be some question marks about his work rate off the ball, and how maybe quick he is off the ball to press in the Guardiola style. 100%. We have to talk about that volley against Spain. I think there's been a bit of jet lag around club football ending, going straight into Nations Leagues and friendly international football as well. Rightly so, by the way. But ultimately, he pops a ball off 25 yards off away from goal, and he instinctively volleys it into net in an outrageous game against Spain, end to end. It was a brilliant game to watch. And Cherki came in and scored the best goal of the night. I mean, it's absolutely outrageous, the quality of that goal. So he's arriving at Man City on that kind of precipice. And I have to say, I mean, Hugo Vian has come in. He's been bold, not too aggressive in the market, but it's a very interesting set of players. Reinders coming in, Bettinelli coming in, of course, as a third choice keeper. And ultimately, Cherki, that isn't too expensive. But Cherki kind of comes into this mould of the Man City model, obviously from Cheeky, but for him, ultimately, De Bruyne came in, similar age, Ruben Diaz came in, similar age, Sane, Jesus, Sterling came in at a similar age. Whatever you say about Man City's model, and yes, maybe there'll be criticism about Jack Grealish, we'll talk about that later, maybe Mangala from years ago, whatever you want to say about that. Robinho, if you really want to go really far back, you're being inaccurate if you do any of those players, because ultimately there's a nucleus at Man City, John Stones as well, Carl Walker, of kind of signing 22 to 25 year olds, so relatively young but not super young in the football world, and then they have their prime years at Man City, and they stay for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Look at Aguero, you look at Company, look at Yaya Toure. All these guys stayed, David Silva, but they came when they were a little bit of a gamble, not too much of a risk. You know, Cherki doing 170 appearances for Lyon at 21. That's a level of a guaranteed footballer there. He arrives at Man City, and if it doesn't work, that's down to different circumstances for sure. It's less of a gamble than maybe Højlund was, coming in to lead the line for Manchester United, a lot of pressure. Cherki can come in and he can slot in with Marmoush, he can slot in with Haaland, Rodri, Reinders, a lot easier. And it does follow a pattern with the Man City ownership where it's been a very, very successful pattern of signing these kind of players. And I'm not saying it's going to guarantee to be a De Bruyne level signing, of course not, but he does fit the mold. Hungry, wants to join the club. The deal gets done quick. The deal isn't majorly expensive. Look at the De Bruyne transfer. That wasn't major expensive. There's been massive value out of that transfer. All of the transfers I've just said, 50 million for Sterling back in the day. How much value are Man City getting out of these kind of deals? 34 million quid on a 5-year contract for one of the most naturally gifted footballers I've seen. This guy's Jogger Benito doing the Nike adverts in the cage with Lilian Thuram and all that. I mean, it's absolutely outrageous. He's fantastic. He really, really is. There'll be some massive, massive question marks about the Man City 11 going forward. Particularly, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. It is Jack Grealish, of course. If you sign Cherki, Jack Grealish approaching 30 years old, Jack Grealish under a level of criticism where he doesn't even get a minute. I don't think he got a minute, did he, in the FA Cup final or in the season before, been frozen out from the squad by all accounts. It is the final nail in the coffin when you see someone like Cherki come in that can play on the left and the right and number 10, maybe in a more fluid way than Jack Grealish can, because I think Pep Guardiola doesn't trust him in the midfield situation. He isn't a right winger and he's probably just about a left winger. I think when he goes to an eventual club, he'll go back into a number 10 role, and that's where he needs to be, of course, or at least a left-sided midfielder in a 3, but not a winger for sure. So it does feel like it's the final days for Jack Grealish with Cherki coming in. It's going to be juicy because ultimately Marmoush is there as well. I think both Marmoush and Cherki will want to play down the middle next to Erling Haaland. Their numbers are going to be amplified. They're going to be on steroids, some of these numbers, because everything that gets played into Haaland, basically hits the back of the net. You're talking to a 30-plus goal a season striker every single year for the last 6-7 years. Cherki and Marmoush will be battling out for the middle spot. I see a world where Marmoush actually moves to the left. I've said it a few times on the channel, and not everyone agrees, but I think Marmoush has got the pace to play on the left. I don't see Cherki being a left winger cutting in on his right foot. He could be in a number 10 role. He could be a direct replacement for Kevin De Bruyne, and that's where it's really, really interesting. Nuri's coming at left back as well, another similar age profile. Like I'm saying, he's 23 years old. Outrageous kind of age to progress and to develop at Man City. And the midfield is going to be interesting as well. Rodri, Reinders, Nico Gonzalez as a backup. And then Gundogan hasn't quite left yet. Bernardo Silva maybe sticking around now. Who knows? Bit of experience. Phil Foden as well on the other side. It's a very interesting one. I think Hugo Viana and Pep Guardiola are spreading their bets a little bit. I think Cherki comes in, maybe it links up with Marmoush, and then there's space maybe for Savinho or Doku to be leaving the club. I love both of them, but I don't think you can have 4. I don't think you can have like Doku, Savinho, Cherki, Marmoush, anyone else coming in. It just doesn't work for me. I think there could be room for that to change. But I think it's a outstanding transfer. It can go wrong. Sometimes when you spend £130 million on a playmaker from European football, it might not go right, and you're going to have to try and cut your losses and get your money back. And that was obviously some criticism from rival fans and from people in football about the Jack Grealish transfer. But ultimately, for this much talent per pound spent is absolutely outrageous business. Leave your comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'll see you very, very soon.